Friday, November 8th, 2024, 324. Talk really quick about the market, some names I'm looking at and go from there. But all-time highs again, take a look at the SPY or S&P closed, was over 6,000 for a moment. We'll see if we close over that, but the SPY is at 598 and change, went all the way up to 599.64. Uh, S&P is now up nearly 5% this week. The NASDAQ is up nearly 6%, and small caps are up nearly 9%. Who would have thought it to start the week? I even thought, just politics aside, like even either side, the VIX was over 20, yields are rising. So I didn't, I certainly, I would have been positioned for it if I thought so, but pretty remarkable. And we'll see blue sky breakout, new highs beget new highs. That's been saying the last 2 or 3 days. At some point, it all comes to an end, but where, right? So you see some of these things that haven't rallied. Well, they have, but really starting to take off, especially the crypto names. Then you see some other names. So United Rentals, a name I've been watching on and off. That's going. That's been on a fair. If you take a look at Sterling, STRL is the ticker. One of my top 5 stocks for 2024. I think it's up near almost $200 now. 191.76. I think it was $85 to start the year. One of those names that just was going to be able to take advantage of a tailwind for infrastructure. So we'll see if these themes continue, but certainly setting up with 2 months left in the year, a pretty remarkable move. It almost reminds me of, I think it was 2014. It was like, I think the markets were up like 35%, and a lot of these names were just kept going. So hopefully that continues. Another good sign here, yields dipping a little bit, and then the small caps. After yesterday's little dip, up about 0.5%, probably over 240 next week. I would love to see some of the bio names really start to go too, like IBB. It's actually looking a little better today, but yeah, but it's up like 4/10%. All right, all right. So some individual names. First, I made one trade today, and I'm back in 2014. I used to make a lot of lotto trades on a Friday. I don't know if it's some as I get older, I'm more risk averse. I don't know. Maybe maybe next week I'll try and do some more larger quantity of lottos. But I'm not just going to do them just to do them if I find opportunities. So DJT, and I was talking about it back in the spring and stuff. It was like, it's like a proxy on Trump, right? It's whether you support, not support, hate, love him, or whatever. If folks who support him are probably going to use it as a proxy. They were using it back in the spring. And then you saw it going wild up into the election. It has nothing to do with the fundamentals. And they announced, they were going to be on the App Store, the Google Plus Store. And I mean, that is that anything relevant, And you look at its valuation, and people are rumoring, oh, maybe Musk is going to buy. Why would he waste his money buying it? There's no, the only thing my argument is maybe if it's a brand, right? Maybe you're buying the licensing for the brand. I don't know. But anyway, needless to say, you see Tesla today, which I'll rant about Tesla in a second. But you see that going. I thought after its dip from post-election for all the way up in the 50s, maybe it's going to get a bounce. So I went and got those 35s. I think they were 14, 15 cents. They got over 32 pretty much 10, 15 minutes after I added the strikes. And then it came right back down, and it was chopping around 31.60. And the longer you go on a Friday expiration with only a couple hours left in the day, the quicker the premiums erode. So I didn't want to be in a spot where I lost the entire, the premium started eroding. I'm chasing it. And I'm not one who does stops too often, but I figure a good part to just lock them in flat, and then sure enough, 15 minutes later, it spikes back over 32, hits 32.50 or so, and those calls with 30 cents. So what are you going to do? Had a plan, stuck to it. Maybe next week I'll try and have a better game plan for more speculative names for bounces. But the names I'm watching, they really offer opportunities. Now here's Tesla. And you take a look at Tesla. And I was looking at Tesla on Tuesday as well as like a proxy for the election. Musk, who typically wasn't very political, and if you've been following Musk since 2011, 2012, I mean, a lot of people who trade him now are probably like 9 years old when Musk was just coming to the scene. I remember when I first saw the Tesla stock, I'm like, what is this? And they were just coming out with their first car, recent IPO, and rants for other days. But he was never political, and if you ever thought his affiliation side or his where he stood, you would think he was he was progressive, Democrat, green, environment, all that fun stuff. So to see him come out, he's the older. Like as I get older, there's things that I never knew, things that I was not aware of that you become aware of that maybe changes your opinions or maybe have discussions. But for him, a lot of it's been the regulation. You look at what they've done to him in California. He's had to move to Texas. And he doesn't have to, but like he's a business person, and he's not even a business person. He wants to land, with multi-planetary civilization, right? And whether people believe him or not, and they just think he's doing it to pad his pockets, I don't believe so. But everybody's welcome to their opinion. But he thought the path for now for the United States is to pick a side, and he went for it. And you see it. And I was looking at I think it was 240 or so, and I was doing the proxies on Tuesday afternoon into the election. I think Tesla was pricing in like a 12% move, and DJT was pricing in like a 65% move. And I looked at the 280s on Tesla, and they were like $1. I'm like, this thing's not going $30 tomorrow. And then here we are. I mean, those are 50, $60, whatever they are. Uh, and then you have that guy Gordon Johnson. You see me in UPB, and I don't like to talk bad about people, right? So everybody's welcome to have their analyst opinion, go on CNBC and argue. But this guy goes on CNBC and calls out people, "Come argue with me. I'll tell you why I'm right on Tesla." And he's been downgrading the stock for years, bashing Musk, posting all this stuff, saying everything competition is going to kill, whatever. If you listen to him, it's not like you. It's like he has a vendetta against him. So, and then he builds his bear case against it. And there's plenty of reasons over the years to poke holes in Tesla. There's no doubt about it. It's not, well, it hasn't been an easy trade, right? So now it is like, where is he now? It's anyway. So rants for other days, but monster run here, and does it continue? At some point, uh, it's pricing in right now, easy, right? Regulation. I mean, I was talking to J Rod. I mean, years ago, not years ago, but supposedly when SpaceX comes out, Tesla holders are going to get the first piece, right? So that could be the next spark. Who knows? But interesting stuff. We'll see how that all plays out this week. But I remember back in 2013, I used to be on Twitter posting bullish stuff about Tesla, and you would get destroyed by the bears, the fudders, fear, uncertainty, and doubt. And there's a lot of them. If you guys know QTR, quote the Raven, I think his name is. When I first started Twitter, he had like 1,000 followers, and maybe I had 10,000. I forget back in the day. Back in the day when I used to gain lots of followers. Now I've been stuck at 120,000 followers on Twitter for a couple years now, ever since Musk took over. So some of the algos, I don't know what changed, but he used to message me, email me, "Can you help me with this Twitter thing, whatever?" But he turned out to be a crazy fudder on Musk and Tesla, which turns out he's very Republican. So it's funny that Musk is now on his side, but it's been like that so long. You can have your view, just make sure it's fundamentally sound. And so, okay, rants for other days. Sorry, I'm going too far on this. All right, so that's Tesla. So some other names in Fiverr, almost back from the dead here. We'll see. It was almost at 31 in the morning, pulled back. It's been trading just under 30 here. Still love this name. The rest of my calls expire next week, so I'll just hold on to those. Uh, it was all the way up to 32 after earnings. I was able to lock some of my calls in. Uh, yeah, so I don't know if I'll revisit after that. I'll have to do more due diligence over the weekend, but hopefully I get a chance to lock them in for some solid games. I think 35 comes on Fiverr. If you take a look at the consolidation, did I post a chart in the chat room? Nope, I didn't. Here we go. Sorry about that, folks. Oh, Spiegel. I just see in the chat room. Iranian Foreign Minister Todor Spiegel. Spiegel's another person who was a fudder on Tesla. I haven't followed him in years. I don't know where he is. He used to be citing the Ferrari or the Porsche Cayenne EV was going to destroy Tesla, right? Anyway, I can go on rants for so long. Sometimes I go on rants because I get frustrated because all along I should have just been buying calls, and it's been up and down, so it's never an easy trade to see some of these moves. But sometimes when you do that, then you get the little birdie on your shoulder or in your head saying, "Wait a second, wait a second." Sometimes that's why it's important to have conviction. All right, so that's Fiverr. Lemonade also looked like it was going to break out this morning. It's actually looking pretty good considering yesterday's sell-off on that analyst downgrade, all the way down to 27. It started at 27, ramped up to 29, then back down to 27 at 11:30, and then it's been melting higher ever since. I still think this heads into the 30s next week. I added those December strikes. I locked in most of the November's. It's just a nice story, right? And then the specter of deregulation. Some of these insurance sectors are highly regulated sector. So you see the banks. That's why they rallied. Well, the first day they rallied. Highly regulated sector. So as these if just even the thought, the market will start pricing that in. All right, so that's Lemonade. I have DJT. SE reports on Tuesday before the open. I was looking to get some calls today, but then all the China stocks are giving back their gains from yesterday, and some of the earnings I've been in have just not done well. So this will probably be the one that does, but SE I was able to get some strikes on SE into earnings after earnings last quarter. So if it does have a great report, hopefully have some deja vu there, but I'll probably just sit on my hands for that one, especially into the weekend. We'll see what happens in the weekend. I don't know why I don't have my Peloton chart up here. Peloton 892 was the highs it hit after its earnings, came all the way up to 895 just a little while ago. It's sitting here. My January strikes are back to life. I still have a couple of the nines expiring next week. If it starts breaking over 9 today, well, I'm not going to get them today, but into next week, it's a story. You have New Year's resolutions, things like that start coming during the holiday season. People looking for gifts, things like that. And Peloton's it's a turnaround. If they're even able to just cut down their debt and just continue to show signs that the turnaround's in place, they got their new CEO. It's off to the races. Not only that, it's got the possibility of Apple or some other company acquiring them. I remember back when I used to do my rants on Peloton. Peloton, I wouldn't call it the Netflix of fitness, but you start to think that could be, that's some of it, right? They have all this content created over the years for exercise, and they've moved branched out to other areas, right? The treadmill, and then you have exercise alone, and you're able to use it on an app, and now you have partnerships with hotels and things like that. To me, it just warrants a higher multiple. So I mean, a price, right? So at some point, I'll look to add more strikes there. Not much to add here on Travelzoo. I mean, disappointing week after so much promise. I think it was Monday. It looked like it was breaking out. It was at the 18s, couldn't break, and then it's been just chopping around here at $17. Going to need that to break out next week. I think that's it, folks. VIX is at 1520 here, so pretty impressive. That's it, folks. Have a great weekend. I'll be back. Earnings next week. Not a lot of names. I think there's like one retailer. I'm trying to think of the names there weren't any major names that I can think of that really stand out besides Essie. Have a great weekend, folks. Rock and roll.